What's up, everyone? I hope you all are having a wonderful and blessed day. I would like to say thank you for stopping by the channel and checking out today's video. It means a lot to me and I truly do appreciate it. Now, if you're enjoying the type of content that you're seeing here and you and want to continue to help support not only me but the channel as well, please feel free to hit the like and subscribe button and make sure to hit the bell icon so you can stay updated on all of my future content. Now today, we're going to be discussing my overall opinion on Gotham Knights as a whole, but please understand this is not a smear video or anything of that nature. There are things that I don't like, but it's not really taking any major chunks away from my hype for the game. Now, over the past month, Gotham Knights related information has been releasing at a steady rate, with the biggest content drop being the day the embargo lifted, right? We actually got more in-depth looks at the combat, the open world, the enemies, which are actually a highlight for me, and more. A lot of reservations that I had about the game prior to the embargo was lifted after it was over, because now that we have more of an understanding, a lot of things were clearer. We saw people get hands-on with the game, and we saw raw combat that we haven't really seen before. We saw people getting more creative with the fighting, and even though it's not the free flow system like people are used to, it still look better than how it did before. Because again, no shade, but whenever we see developers showing off things in scripted gameplay, a majority of the time it's really just some of the most basic gameplay possible, and that's understandable because the main purpose there is to just simply show off how the game works and functions. Like, they're not there to be flashy. But let's be honest, it's a double-edged sword at that point, because showing the features and functions are important and it can be cool, but at the same time, simple gameplay can easily just turn people away, as it has already done. Now, the combat looks better in recent footage as well, seeing as how more impactful the hits feel and seeing just how different each person's fighting style is. Nightwing is meant to be a annoying pest due to how much he can move around. He's consistently flying through the air, doing triple, quadruple kick flips and this and that. Batgirl seems to be a single target wrecking ball machine. Robin lives in the areas of distraction and elemental damage, and Red Hood is just simply a powerhouse through and through. And speaking of him, his combat actually looks funner than from what I thought, right? People saying all he does is shoot. Can't say that anymore, because we seen him hit people in the face with the butt of the guns in his hands and giving out Bruce Lee cross kicks to everybody in the chest. And then we have Nightwing over here jumping and bouncing everywhere like a madman, and it doesn't seem as bad anymore because we got to see him using his evades in a much better fashion, and also seeing how it fits into his overall playstyle, like buffing his damage and so on and so forth. Because beforehand, the players were really just like spamming the evade button like 20 times in a row before they ever threw out a hit, and that was not it. That definitely turned some people off. Now, there are people and even some creators that have reviewed the game that feel as if the combat could possibly become repetitive after some time due to the combat options not really changing, right? It kind of just feels like more of the same. But I also feel like that could be due to them only being able to access a certain build of the game and them not really being able to fully experiment like how they wanted to see if there were more options available. And I feel like that's something that can change over time once people can get their hands on the game and spend more time with the combat as a whole, or just any other features of the game, like Afro Senju, for example. Somebody who did not like or care for Red Hood's mystical leap when he first saw it, but after playing with him for a bit, now he thinks it's fun to use. And if you don't believe me, you can go and check out the video. He posted it on his channel. Now, I've always liked the leap from the start, right? If you don't believe me, you can go ahead and check my older videos. But this game will very much become a you're only on the fence because you haven't played it for yourself yet kind of situation with some people, not everyone, but with some. Now, the enemies are something that I feel much better about after seeing how they react after changing the difficulty. Take Harley, for example. The first time we see her boss fight, it was looking very sluggish. It looked like Harley could hit hard, but she was taking her sweet time making any actions. The fight didn't really look that engaging. But new footage actually helped to calm that worry of mine because of seeing new various things, like Harley starting off with backup in the first phase of her fight instead of waiting until the second, and not only seeing her be more aggressive, but also seeing her use new moves like various takedowns and such, like bumping it up to a higher difficulty essentially kind of gave her additional move sets for her playstyle. Now, one hopeful wish that I do have is that they take cues from games like Future Revolution and Destiny. What I mean by that is we know that an in-game feature will be present, so I would say, like, imagine bringing back the villains as raid bosses but with new mechanics. So it's basically an upgraded version of the boss fight from the main story. The open world was never really much of an issue because what people don't understand is that the streets and sidewalks and the rooftops wouldn't be as crowded with people like Spider-Man because of the type of game that this is. The city is alive, yes, it's constantly being referred to as the game's fifth character, but everything will be spaced accordingly. One section of the city could be dead during the night, and then on the next night, it's a bit more lively due to whatever could be going on. But there will be a large amount of people you see depending on where you are or what's happening. Like, this is Gotham, let's be real. Would you be out kicking it on the streets of Gotham after midnight? Because I'm gonna be real, most of y'all wouldn't. And if some of y'all saying y'all are, y'all cap, I know y'all wouldn't. It's way too easy to get snatched up by Professor Pig looking for new victims, or Bane just ends up shotgunning the same car that you still had 7 payments left on down the street at Batman just to miss him. Now, well, there are 2 things left that I do want to touch on, because this video was actually the last one I recorded in my batch. So this was after, you know, the information drop with the 30 FPS and the 4-player co-op, which are 2 things I will touch on, but I'm gonna get through the rest of the current script that I have before I do that. Now, the biggest thing for me with Gotham Knights was how long the game could keep my attention. I play a lot of games, but there are some that do tend to stay in my queue for quite some time, and it's not even a matter of the game needing to have constant content, because there are still days where I'll boot up Arkham Knight or Spider-Man just to run around and do anything, or even run through missions again. As long as the game is fun for you, then that shouldn't be an issue. Like, I currently have Spider-Man sitting open right now. Like, I just be having him sitting on a building looking out at the river while I'm recording, because it's nice. It's nice. Like, that's all it is. The 30 FPS issue. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I know a lot about game development and how things work, because I clearly don't. My whole thing, the way I feel about the situation is, it sucks, of course, that the game isn't going to be 60 FPS, but at the same time, I have always been someone, that's not really a deal breaker for me. As long as I can enjoy the game for what it is and what's there, then that's fine. Everything else like that is pretty much an added bonus. I know the arguments are going around that, you know, we have these next gen consoles, 60 FPS should be the standard. I don't disagree with you, but I also don't agree with you at the same time, because it's just how I feel. I'm a simple guy. I play what I like, I enjoy what I enjoy, and I give credit to the work that's been done. The biggest issue about the whole situation, in my opinion, would be, it's not even the fact that the game doesn't have 60 FPS, is locked at 30 on consoles. It's more so this piece of information was not alluded to or spoken on into a supposed leak that I haven't seen. I haven't seen the leak, so but that's apparently where the information came from. There was a leak that announced that the game was going to be locked at 30 FPS on consoles, and then there was an announcement made in the Discord server. Not on any of their socials, but in the Discord server, and then the news got out from there. That's my biggest issue with the whole thing. Again, not the game being locked at 30 FPS, but the fact that they waited until, like, what I would say 6 days before release to give us that information. And then on top of that, it wasn't even of their own volition. It was more so, it felt like they were forced to give out that information because it was already out in the open. But it is what it is. Hopefully, at some point in the future, we can maybe get an update that will unlock the game and push it towards 60 FPS. Now, the heroic assault mode, right? That is something that I'm actually excited for. For any of you that I'm pretty sure, like, a lot of you might know, way back when, I think this was in August, where the PlayStation Store had updated accidentally, and not everybody knew at first, but then the information started to leak out about how the PlayStation Store updated the game's description to feature 4-player co-op instead of 2. At the time, we were told that the PlayStation Store made a mistake and that the game will not be featuring 4-player co-op. Fast forward, we come to find out about Heroic Assault, which is a new game mode that will be separate from the main game, which will have the ability of bringing together 4 players to compete through an arena of challenges and enemies. And I believe the arena will have something like 30 floors. For people who have ever played Devil May Cry, right, think of it like Bloody Palace, like, because that's essentially what it is. We're going to be fighting against many groups of enemies and maybe bosses, hopefully bosses, on a floor as we progress more and more and more towards the last room, and then we eventually beat him. There will be no free roam or anything like of that nature. It will strictly be you 4 fighting in the arena. But all in all, it's still cool. Like, and I'm curious about what else they might have up their sleeve. Who knows? Maybe we can even get 4 players in the open world. We might not, but it's wishful thinking. But anyways, with all of that being said, I would like to thank you guys for stopping by and checking out the video. I hope that you had a great time, a very great time. Please let me know down in the comments below how you guys feel about just the game as a whole, or even the current situation with Heroic Assault in the 30 FPS mayhem that's literally been trending on my timeline for like the past week. I'm not even kidding, it's still trending now. And if you've enjoyed the video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and make sure to hit the notifications bell so that you'll never miss out on any of my future content. And I will catch y'all in the moonlight. Peace.
Trying to live life, pull up to the club with the bottles on ice. Need a back end by the end of the night. I'm an artiste and a social light. Trying to do it big, trying to live life. Pull up to the club with the bottles on ice. Need a back end by the end of the night. I'm an artiste and a social light.